The story of Jairus, found in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, is one of the most moving and powerful accounts in Jesus' ministry. Jairus, a respected leader of the synagogue, finds himself in a desperate situation. His young daughter is dying. In his anguish, he seeks out Jesus, believing that only he can save her. This narrative not only demonstrates Jesus' divine power over death, but also reveals profound lessons about faith, patience, and hope in life's darkest moments. To fully appreciate the significance of this miracle, it's essential to understand the cultural context. Jairus was a synagogue leader, a man of influence and high standing in the Jewish community. His role included supervising synagogue activities, organizing services, and ensuring the proper teaching of the scriptures. Despite his esteemed position, Jairus humbles himself before Jesus, revealing both his desperation and his deep faith. By this point in his ministry, Jesus was already a controversial figure. While many followed him and believed in his miracles, the religious leaders were skeptical and critical of him. For Jairus to publicly approach Jesus was a bold and risky move, likely endangering his reputation. However, the love for his daughter and his faith in Jesus' power were far greater than any fear of public judgment. The story begins as Jairus finds Jesus in the midst of a crowd. Mark 5 verses 22 to 23 records, "Then one of the synagogue leaders, named Jairus, came, and when he saw Jesus, he fell at his feet. He pleaded earnestly with him, 'My little daughter is dying. Please come and put your hands on her so that she will be healed and live.' This moment is incredibly powerful. Jairus, a man of authority and respect, falls at Jesus' feet, an act of humility and reverence. This gesture demonstrates Jairus' recognition of Jesus' divine authority and his belief that only Jesus can save his daughter. Jesus, moved by compassion, agrees to go with Jairus. However, as they are on their way, an unexpected event occurs. A woman suffering from bleeding for 12 years touches Jesus' robe and is instantly healed. Jesus stops to acknowledge the woman and declares, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." Mark 5 verse 34. We can only imagine Jairus' anxiety and impatience during this moment. His daughter is on the brink of death, and every second counts. Yet, Jesus takes time to care for someone else, showing his boundless love and power. What seems like an interruption is in reality part of God's perfect plan. As Jesus finishes speaking to the woman, messengers arrive from Jairus' home with devastating news. "Your daughter is dead. Why bother the teacher anymore?" Mark 5 verse 35. These words must have pierced Jairus' heart like a knife. The situation, from a human perspective, seemed hopeless. However, Jesus immediately turns to Jairus and says, "Don't be afraid, just believe." Mark 5 verse 36. These words form the heart of the story. Jesus challenges Jairus to maintain his faith, even when the circumstances appear impossible. Fear and despair are natural reactions in the face of tragedy, but Jesus calls Jairus to trust him completely. Upon arriving at Jairus' house, they encounter a scene of mourning and despair. People are wailing and crying over the girl's death. Jesus, however, makes a stunning declaration. Why all this commotion and wailing? The child is not dead but asleep. Mark 5 verse 39. The crowd laughs at him, for they know that death is final. Jesus, undeterred by their disbelief, enters the room with only Jairus, the girl's mother, and 3 of his disciples, Peter, James, and John. In the quiet of that room, Jesus takes the girl's hand and speaks with divine authority. Talitha cumi, which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Mark 5 verse 41. Immediately, the 12-year-old girl stands up and begins to walk around. The astonishment and joy of her parents and those present are unimaginable. With tender care, Jesus tells them to give her something to eat, demonstrating not only his power but also his compassion for the smallest details of life. The resurrection of Jairus' daughter is a profound demonstration of Jesus' authority over death. Where others saw finality, Jesus saw an opportunity to reveal God's power and bring restoration. Jairus' faith was rewarded in the most miraculous way, proving that nothing is impossible for Jesus. This story teaches us timeless lessons that resonate deeply. First, it shows us the importance of humility and persistent faith. Jairus, a man of stature and influence, did not hesitate to seek Jesus' help and fall at his feet. His example challenges us to set aside pride and approach God with humility and trust, no matter our status or circumstances. Second, the story reminds us that God's timing is perfect. What seemed like a delay, the healing of the bleeding woman, was actually part of a larger plan. Even when God seems slow to act, He is always in control and working for His glory and our good. Finally, this narrative reveals that Jesus has the final word over death and despair. The words, "Don't be afraid, just believe," are a call to trust Jesus even when all hope seems lost. His power transcends human limitations, and His love reaches into the darkest moments of our lives. Jairus' faith brought his daughter back to life, and his story continues to inspire us today. Like Jairus, we are invited to trust in Jesus, knowing that He alone has the power to restore what seems lost. Death, fear, and hopelessness must all yield to His word, for He is the resurrection and the life. If you liked this video and want to know more about the characters that surrounded the life of Christ and formed the rich biblical story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and send this video to your friends. Turn on notifications to know when new videos come out.